This morning's top story.
Well, the conditions are worsening as Isaac moves inland, and we've got the very latest from the Gulf Coast.
This is Indiana's News Center today.
Hi, good morning. 6:30. Rain continues to pound New Orleans. We'll get the latest update from Louisiana coming up.
Going to switch to our weather right now. Chris Daniels here to tell us what to expect at the bus stop and as you get ready for work this morning.
Looks like it's going to be great. Temperatures down around 60 or so at the bus stop with mostly sunny skies. A beautiful day. Getting into the low 80s. We take you back down to the coast with our pinpoint fire.
Surges at least over one parish.
Yeah. So many questions. Would the levees hold? Well, one got breached for sure.
7 years ago today, Katrina hit. Actually, this storm made landfall yesterday. But it's still right on the coast this morning.
Yeah, the timing is eerie, to say the least. All right, Chris, thanks.
And we start with that this morning. Isaac is flooding streets now as that levee was breached, knocking down power in coastal communities across the Gulf. Now, the hurricane reaches all the way from Louisiana to really parts of the Florida Panhandle.
Danielle Lee has the very latest conditions from New Orleans for us now.
Isaac is coming ashore with a fury.
And as this rain continues to come down, the threat of flooding just intensifies here in New Orleans. I'm Danielle Lee for NBC News.
And as Isaac intensifies, so does the pain at the pump, and everyone nationwide is bracing for a major spike. If it's any indication, prices above $4 could soon be the norm. Drivers in Chicago, well, they're already paying about $4.60 a gallon for regular unleaded. That is the highest in the nation.
And, of course, if you noticed yesterday, we got hit in the Summit City as well. Prices jumping up to $4 a gallon, $3.99. So anywhere from 20 to 30 cents on some. The good news is this morning they say the oil wells out there were not hit hard, not a lot of damage. So that is good news that Isaac did not cause more damage. Gas Buddy saying it was the largest jump ever, though, for the Labor Day holiday. And it could be late September until we see prices go back down. But no damage certainly helps.
Meanwhile, in Tampa, Republicans officially made Mitt Romney their presidential candidate. The votes from New Jersey during the roll call put the former Massachusetts governor over the top and secured the party's nomination. Romney's wife, Ann, addressed the convention, painting a personal picture of her husband, rarely seen on the campaign trail.
Let me say this to every American who is thinking about who should be our next president. No one will work harder. No one will care more, and no one will move heaven and earth like Mitt Romney to make this country a better place to live.
Mrs. Romney also made a promise that her husband would work hard to get America back on track.
New Jersey Governor Chris Christie giving a rousing keynote address at the Republican National Convention. Also, the governor telling the crowd and voters in the TV audience that there are tough choices to be made and the solutions to the problems will not be painless. Christie assured the delegation that Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan have the leadership to make America great once again.
Tonight, we choose the path that has always defined our nation's history. Tonight, we finally and firmly answer the call that so many generations have had the courage to answer before us. Tonight, we stand up for Mitt Romney as the next president of the United States, and together.
Vice presidential candidate Paul Ryan is scheduled to address the convention later today. And, of course, Paula Hughes, former Allen County councilwoman and also candidate for mayor, along with being a Republican delegate at convention, is there as well. And we'll ask her about what she thought about the big speeches last night from Chris Christie and Ann Romney.
Paula, are you there with us?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning, and thanks for your time. What did you think of those two, especially those two key speeches last night from the New Jersey governor and from Mrs. Romney?
Well, you know, I was charmed by Ann Romney. I think she has obviously been on the campaign trail and is so supportive of her husband. And I love to see the backstory, if you will, the family. And I think that's the part that you don't often get to see. It doesn't get covered as much, so I'd like hearing from Mrs. Romney. Thank you.
Thanks,
Take care.
I know she was excited about getting that experience for the first time as well. Switching gears this morning, the anticipation in Auburn, it's not politics, it's cars they're excited about, and that grows every year this time of the year.
One of the people who's excited is our own Jeff Bowman. He joins us live again this morning. 1,000 or more classics, exotics, hot rods, and muscle cars out there, and I think Jeff is talking muscle cars this time around. Right, Jeff?
That's right, Linda. You know, we talked in that first shot about the classic cars, and everyone thinks classic cars when they think Auburn, but there is a wide range of cars up here.
Jeff, thanks a lot.
All right, you're welcome.
It's a lot of fun out
Well,
there.
from great cars, we talked about ice cream to great treats. One of Fort Wayne's best-known businesses having a really big day today.
A really big day, something that just doesn't happen often and will thrill chocolate lovers all over the area. It's a sale at DeBrand, and joining us right now, Kathy Brand-Beard. She is founder and president. It's so good to see you.
Good morning.
Very
Thank
good
you.
to see
Great to be here.
Thanks for being, what's happening? Exactly what's happening.
Well,
And we'll be
Kathy,
right
thanks.
back. Chris's forecast is coming up.
You're watching INC Today.
Chris, well, it's one of those mornings. Boy, we start with a really tough story. News this morning out of Colorado were reports of two shooters going on a rampage outside of a movie theater there during a midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises. This is amateur video of the scene. At this moment, we do know that 12 are dead, 20 are hurt. One suspect is in custody. A lot of really disturbing details coming out of this. We'll have more as that story develops out of Colorado. Morning 5:49. We've got a quiet morning here, anything but in Aurora, Colorado this morning. Let's bring you up to speed on our top story, a devastating story. Reports of two shooters going on a rampage outside of a movie theater in Colorado. This was during the midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises. These are live pictures this morning. At this moment, we know that 14 are dead, at least 50 are hurt. One suspect is in custody. We're going to have more as the story develops. What we can tell you, though, is during this showing, at some point, at least one shooter, they have not confirmed so early right now in terms of how many shooters were involved, but when you're talking 14 dead and 50 injured, a lot of speculation as to whether someone else is involved. There's speculation as to whether even a bomb was involved, but serious tragedy in Aurora, Colorado. This is a suburb of Denver. These are live pictures from there this morning on what was certainly going to be a festive evening. So many of those midnight showings. This one turned very tragic. Will certainly dominate the national news this morning as we try and get answers to what seems like a very, very senseless shooting in Aurora, Colorado. 14 dead and 50 injured are the numbers right now coming from the AP. Right now, we're going to get to Charlie Butcher at the water cooler. Good morning, Charlie.
You know, one of the best pieces of information this morning to come out of this story is that there was just one shooter, they think, right now. We've been following a number of different feeds, and it looks like
story this morning is an unfortunate one. Reports of a shooter going on a shooting rampage outside of a movie theater in Colorado. It was at the midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises. The numbers are not good at all. They have a very tragic situation on their hand. Let's go live to ABC's Tamon Bradley.
Good morning, I'm Tamon Bradley. Terrifying moments overnight in suburban Denver. At least 14 people dead, 50 wounded, and a mass shooting overnight at the premiere of the new Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises.
The situation in Aurora, Colorado, there 14 are dead, about 50 injured. Reports that this person came in riot gear and actually was setting off bombs, not letting people get out of this theater. About as bad as it gets, just 18 miles from the Columbine shooting. Police still trying to put the details together. They do have one person thought to be the shooter in custody. We'll have live reports coming up. It is 6:18. Of course, continue to following the events in Aurora, Colorado. They had a shooting at the premiere of The Dark Knight Rises. 14 are dead. These are live pictures from Aurora. This is just 18 miles from Littleton, Colorado. Of course, the site of the worst school shooting in U.S. high school history there. 6:18. They are still trying to put together the details right now. 14 dead. One shooter is in custody. We'll continue to have reports, including a live report. At the premiere of The Dark Knight Rises, it looks like one shooter has gone in. The latest numbers we have, 14 are dead, 50 are injured. All sorts of reports coming out. It sounds like this suspect was in complete attire in terms of a bulletproof vest, had a riot gear helmet on, thoughts of bullets going into the other theater, so you can only speculate as to what type gun he was using. Even reports of some bombs going off, trying to keep some of these people from getting out of that theater. But the latest reports from Aurora, Colorado, which is just 18 miles from Littleton, Colorado, the scene of the Columbine shooting, 14 dead and 50 injured. Let's get the very latest now from ABC News, a live report with Tamon Bradley.
Good morning. Sources tell ABC News the suspect is 24 years old. His identity has not been released. Reporting live, Tamon Bradley, back to you.
And thanks to ABC with Tamon Bradley with that report. Again, just 18 miles from Littleton, Colorado, and the numbers look bad at the hospital as well. A number of critical injured, so those numbers certainly could change throughout the morning. This morning, we continue to follow the devastating story out of Aurora, Colorado, there where 14 are dead, 50 injured. They do have a 24-year-old suspect in custody. They have run background checks now. He has no links, according to FBI, to Islamic groups, any terrorist groups, organization. We can tell you they have found a rifle inside. They have found a gun. In fact, two guns, it looks like at this point. He was wearing full riot gear. A lot of details yet to come out of this, but a very horrible scene this morning. It happened at the premiere about 12:39 local time, would have been 2:39 our time. We'll be right back with Chris's forecast.